Once a darling of the startup world, has had a rough ride in the past 2 years. The company, once valued at $5.6 billion, saw a rapid close to 90% fall in valuations, mainly due to high debt taken on to fund the Thyrocare acquisition in conjunction with the funding winter that held back its IPO plans. The company now seems to be charting its way back, having completed an over 3,500 crore rights issue that was oversubscribed, with the likes of Ranjan Pai, an old hand in the healthcare industry, committing 1,300 crores. With IPO plans still alive, the company that recorded a 60 crore EBITDA in Q1 of this fiscal is now focusing on profitable growth. Listen in to Siddharth Shah, PharmEasy, who joins me now to take us through the details of the rights issue and plans going forward. Hi Siddharth, thanks very much for joining in. You know, since March 2019, there have been a huge amount of developments which have taken place with PharmEasy, and I'll get to the journey in just a bit. But I just wanted to start with the news, the rights issue, 3,500 odd crores oversubscribed. Tell us a little more about it.
So I think first of all, I have to thank my shareholders for this, because they've placed a phenomenal amount of trust in not just me but the entire organization. You're correct. The subscription of the rights issue is now in fact a little north of 3,950 crores, which in a lot of ways I think is a big testament of support for what we are doing and the belief that ultimately we can literally become the best player in digital healthcare in India.
Okay, so Mr. Pai, Mr. Ranjan Pai, how much did he subscribe to in terms of the rights issue?
See, I think what's happened is the total subscription quantum has been 3,950 crores. Mr. Pai had made a commitment to subscribe to 1,300 crores as part of this round. But given that it's oversubscribed, I think we're all figuring out how much of an allocation will Mr. Pai get, how much some of the other investors get, because it was very clear from the way our rights issue was structured that the first right of infusing capital will come indeed to our existing shareholders.
Okay.
And the balance will go to Dr. Pai, but I think we'll figure out a way where Dr. Pai also gets a chance to participate. And in fact, he's been very, very supportive, right? And one of the big reasons for helping us get here. So I think Dr. Pai will also get a chance to participate, and more importantly, we'll get a chance to work with Dr. Pai.
Okay, so just to get a sense in terms of what the shareholding pattern of the rights issue would be, majority of the people who've subscribed to the rights issue are the existing investors already, like TPG, Temasek, etc.?
Yes, so it's fair to say that out of the 3,950 crores, roughly 1,300 crores is coming from Dr. Pai, which means that the balance, roughly 2,650 crores, is coming from our existing investors and employees. The thing I'm most proud of is the fact that our employees, excluding the founders, right, the employees themselves have subscribed to 132 crores worth of shares in this round, right? So I think what more can you want in a company where employees themselves are putting their hard-earned, actual, real cash into the company, right? So I would say that we've received a broad-based support from over 10, 12 institutional investors, from, if I'm not wrong, roughly 4,000 plus retail investors who were already shareholders of the company, and several hundred employees. So I think this is as great an outcome as I could have expected. So
is Mr. Pai going to be the majority shareholder in the company? Because we were under the assumption that he's probably going to hold around 14, 15, maybe 16% stake.
Look, I think we are still waiting for CCI approval from Mr. Pai, so it's not fair for me to comment on that right now.
But will he be the majority shareholder?
See, I wouldn't say majority, because majority will translate to 51%, right? But I think...
Or the maximum amount of shares.
Yeah, so the way to think about it is the Dr. Pai, in case his allocation gets approved by CCI and it goes to 1,300 crores, then his shareholding will likely be above 15%.
But what are you assuming the valuation is currently?
Look, I think the value is best determined by the market. I think there's no reason...
Has it risen from 650 million?
Again, like I said, it's a function of where the market is, right? I think when we go public, we'll all know what the value is. So best thing is to keep our head down and focus. I think valuation is an outcome of our performance.
When are you planning to go public? When are you reviving those plans?
Look, I don't have a clear answer for that at the moment. At this time, our focus is to get our... I mean, there were two primary reasons why we did the capital raise, right? One is obviously, as we're aware, we wanted to deleverage our balance sheet, right? I think the deleveraging exercise is done. Second is also to provide a runway where we're not gasping for capital in order to achieve what our stated objectives are. You've already seen in the letter of offer, we've given a view of our 3-month performance. April, May, June this year was the first quarter where on a consolidated basis, not accounting for one-time expenses or non-cash items, we were EBITDA profitable on a pro forma basis. We believe that trend has continued, right? And hopefully, including 9 months, we will be on that track. So I think if the performance of the company continues to be good, and which we are reasonably confident about, then I think we will at the right time be able to come back to the market. But on the back of not just promise that we are in 2021, but now with the track record of performance, maybe let's say in 2024 or 2025 or 2026 as the right time. But because I know that the Indian markets want a story that is focused not just on growth, but also on profits. So I think with a good track record, at the right time, we should be able to come to the markets.
So is that IPO a one-year story? Are we seeing the IPO next year? Or is it maybe a 25, 26
It's
story?
too difficult to comment. I think, look, last time around we wanted to go public. I think maybe we were late by a few months because by the time we got SEBI approval, there was a Ukraine war. And obviously the world changed and the world changed and the world changed, right? So, as you know, in our industry, the world changes every few days and every few months, right? So very difficult to comment what's going to happen, let's say 6 months or 9 months or 1 year from now.
But the big question with regards to raising money and going public is also the fact that you have Thyrocare, which is a listed entity. So the big question always remains in terms of whether you're going to be two separate listed entities, whether you're going to look at, a reverse merger. What is the plan on that?
One step at a time. I think the first focus.
This is the question that came up in the previous time also.
I know it came up. Look, I think the fact that we went for an independent IPO for API at that time was reflective of the strategy at that time. I think let us get this money, get the CCI approval, resolve our debt, which is the only, if I were to say, large, utilization from this rights issue, right? And I think our performance is so strong already that I think all of these questions in due course will get answered, right? That is, what is the right way to go public? Look, the company going public eventually is a certainty. And I'll tell you that because even though we are unlisted, at last count, we have over 20,000 shareholders already.
Correct.
So the governance, the mode in which we engage with our stakeholders, the responsibility with which we are acting is as if we are a public company.
Eventually, would you want two listed entities, just as a strategy?
Look, as a strategy, it depends on what is your objective, right? I mean, there are several times that companies merge because they believe there are synergies that can come. There are several times that there are companies that split and demerge because people believe that it is the right thing, right? I mean, if you look at, the company just created the most wealth in this country, Reliance Industries, right? I mean, they merged certain entities at the right time when they required to spin off Jio, they did that, right? So it's
that
very
could be
rare.
A possibility in
it's
the future.
very rare. I mean, see, it's very difficult to comment, on what should happen tomorrow. I think it's always a function of the context and what is the right strategy, right? And I think, like I said, I mean, people like us have great admiration and, for people like, Reliance, right? And even if we can emulate something like that, right? But I think what one learns from them is to be nimble, right? So I think we have to learn to be nimble and, get there.